Hi, I'm Dale. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at why people relapse, specifically the top 5 reasons that people in recovery struggle to stay on the path. Whether you're new to the program, coming back after a slip, or supporting someone you care about, understanding these relapse triggers can be a game changer. I'm not here to shame or scare anyone. Relapse is part of many people's journey, but together we can look at the warning signs, build awareness, and talk about how to stay grounded in recovery one day at a time. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the deep dive. We've gone through quite a stack of sources, reports, research, practical guides to pull out the key stuff for you. Today we're tackling a subject that, well, it affects so many lives. Lasting recovery from substance use disorders. It's complex, often misunderstood, but really it's about hope. Our goal here is to unpack some critical insights, some real wisdom, looking at everything from the science of treatment to, practical ways to navigate the journey and avoid relapse. And a really key voice in our stack today is Dale P., the founder of A Guiding Light. His piece, Why People Relapse, offers some incredibly grounded, real-world perspectives on sustaining recovery. So let's dive in.
Right. So maybe just to start, substance use disorders, SUDs, they're defined as chronic medical conditions. They are treatable, though. That's the critical part. They affect the brain, they affect behaviors, but people can recover. We know treatments work, medications, psychotherapies, they're safe and effective.
Okay, so it's a medical condition, not a moral failing.
Exactly. The diagnosis, it isn't arbitrary. It follows specific criteria from the DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. You need 2 or more symptoms, things like intense cravings, or maybe continuing to use even when it's clearly causing major problems. It's a recognized diagnosis.
That makes sense. So if it's medical, what are the actual goals of treatment? Is it just about stopping the substance use, or is there more to it?
Oh, it's definitely more. Stopping or cutting down use is, of course, a primary goal, but it's also about preventing relapse, returning to use, and really importantly, easing the negative impacts the substance use has had, and helping people get back to functioning well in their lives. Work, family, community, the whole picture. It's about getting your life back on track.
Like a holistic approach.
Precisely. And treatment happens in different places, depending on what someone needs. You've got standard outpatient care like regular visits, maybe telehealth now too for counseling or medication checks. Then there's intensive outpatient, which means more hours per week, more coordinated services. For more serious situations, inpatient care provides that 24-hour support, maybe for managing withdrawal safely or other health issues. And residential programs offer longer stays, weeks or months, with a structured environment counseling, meds, access to mutual support. And specifically for opioids, there are specialized opioid treatment programs, often using medications like methadone, buprenorphine, or naltrexone combined with behavioral therapies. Can be outpatient or residential.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. We keep hearing about behavioral therapies. What are they actually doing? How do they help change those ingrained habits?
Yeah, great question. They're not just talk therapy in the passive sense. They're active strategies delivered by licensed professionals. A cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. It's about helping people recognize and change those unhealthy thought patterns and behaviors linked to substance use.
So like identifying triggers.
Exactly. Identifying triggers, learning coping skills, strengthening your resolve before you're in that high-risk situation. It's about building that mental toolkit. Then you have things like contingency management. This uses like positive reinforcement, small rewards, prizes, vouchers for sticking to treatment goals like testing negative for drugs.
Interesting. Rewarding the positive.
Right. It helps make recovery feel more, rewarding. Motivational enhancement therapy is another one. It's shorter term, focused on boosting someone's internal motivation to change and stick with their goals. And there's also 12-step facilitation therapy. This specifically encourages people to get involved with 12-step mutual support groups and helps link them to those resources.
Leads us right into those mutual help groups. AA and AA, they seem incredibly important for so many people. And there are others too, right? Smart Recovery, Women in Sobriety.
Absolutely. Groups like Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, but also Smart Recovery, Women for Sobriety, LifeRing. They play a huge role. They're peer-led, which is key. It's people sharing their experiences, supporting each other. They're free, usually available long-term.
And research shows they're effective.
Yes. Particularly for 12-step programs like AA, the research shows they really do help support long-term recovery. They offer that community, that shared understanding. They can be used alone or alongside formal treatment.
Makes sense. What about medication? You mentioned it for opioids, but does it play a role elsewhere?
It definitely does. Medications are available and effective for opioid use disorder, alcohol use disorder, and also for tobacco use disorder. They work in different ways. Some reduce withdrawal symptoms or cravings, making it easier to quit. Others might block the enjoyable effects of the substance or cause an unpleasant reaction if you use it.
And are they addictive themselves? That's a common concern, isn't it?
That's a really important point. When these medications are prescribed correctly for SUD treatment, they are not considered addictive. They're actually helping to normalize brain function that's been disrupted by addiction.
Good to clarify. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. What's on the cutting edge? Any new breakthroughs in research?
Yeah, there's some exciting stuff happening, supported by NIDA, the National Institute on Drug Abuse. They're looking into neuromodulation, things like TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation. It's already FDA approved for smoking cessation, and they're studying it for other SUDs. It basically tries to reset certain brain circuits.
Wow, like retraining the brain directly.
Kind of, yeah. There's also research into vaccines or monoclonal antibodies. The idea is to potentially stop drugs from even reaching the brain. And even things like GLP-1 agonist medications like semaglutide used for diabetes and weight loss are showing some early promise in reducing cravings for alcohol and maybe other drugs.
Unexpected connections.
And psychedelics. Used in very controlled clinical settings alongside therapy, they're being explored for their potential to help people break through rigid thinking patterns associated with addiction. It's still early days for much of this, but promising avenues.
Fascinating. And treatment needs to be tailored, right? Like for teenagers.
Absolutely. Adolescents need programs designed for them, often involving family. Their brains are still developing, so the approach needs to reflect that. And crucially, treating co-occurring mental health conditions like ADHD, depression, anxiety at the same time as the SUD is vital for better outcomes. They often go hand in hand.
Okay, so we've covered the foundations, the nature of SUDs, the types of treatment, but let's shift gears. What does all this mean for someone actually navigating the long path? Beyond just getting through initial treatment, what helps people stay in recovery long term?
Right. That's where we move into sustained recovery. And it really rests on a few key pillars. First, social support. This is huge. There was a study way back in 2001, actually, showing people with strong social networks were way more likely to stay abstinent.
So it's not just feeling good, it actually makes a measurable difference.
A massive difference.
Yeah.
It's about having people who understand, who support your recovery. That's why those mutual help groups we talked about, like AA or NA, are so powerful. They build that supportive community, that recovery capital.
Makes sense. What's next?
Next is addressing mental health and trauma. We touched on this, but SAM-HSA data shows almost half of people with an SUD also have a co-occurring mental health issue.
Nearly half. Wow.
Yeah, and if you don't treat both, the risk of relapse just skyrockets. Often the substance use started as a way to cope with that underlying pain, like depression or trauma. So you have to address the root cause.
You have to heal the whole person.
Exactly. Heal the whole person. It's not just about stopping the substance. It's about building a life where you don't feel the need to escape. And the third pillar often is spirituality and step work. Research has found links between spiritual involvement, especially within 12-step programs, and longer periods of sobriety.
Spirituality, not necessarily religion.
Right. Can be broader than formal religion. It's often about finding meaning, purpose, connection, maybe through step work, journaling, meditation, prayer, service. It's about that ongoing personal growth.
These pillars really highlight the ongoing nature of recovery. And speaking of ongoing support, Dale P's organization, A Guiding Light, offers a lot of practical resources. You can find more at agl901.com. That's agl911.dale.to. Okay, let's talk about something tough but really important, relapse. You mentioned NIDA says it's a normal part of chronic illness recovery, but how do you frame that so it doesn't feel like failure? What's Dale P's take on this?
That's such a critical point. Dale P is really clear about this in his work. Relapse doesn't mean failure. It's not a sign someone is weak or broken or, not trying hard enough.
It's more like a signal.
Exactly. It's often a signal that something in the recovery plan needs attention, needs adjustment. Think of it like managing diabetes. Sometimes blood sugar goes out of whack, and you need to adjust insulin or diet. It doesn't mean the person failed at managing diabetes. NAD echoes this. They see relapse as part of the chronic nature of SUDs. Someone might need multiple episodes of treatment over their lifetime. It's part of the journey for many, a chance to learn and regroup.
Okay, that reframing is powerful. So if it's a signal, what is it signaling? Dale P actually identified some top reasons people relapse.
Yeah.
Let's dig into those, understanding why can be preventative.
Absolutely. Dale breaks it down into 5 key areas. The first one, isolation and disconnection.
Loneliness.
Yeah, addiction thrives in secret, in isolation. When people pull away from their support meetings, sponsors, supportive friends, family, that silence can be really dangerous. Small issues can fester.
So what helps?
Staying connected, actively reaching out, daily contact, even just a text. Making connection a priority, even when you feel like you're doing okay. Support isn't just for crises. The second reason is emotional overload, summed up by the acronym HALT.
HALT. Okay, what's that?
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. These basic physical and emotional states make us incredibly vulnerable. When we're any of those, our defenses are down, and the urge to seek quick relief, maybe through old habits, can surge.
So basic self-care is relapse prevention.
Totally. Check in with yourself. Am I hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Prioritize sleep, meals, rest, and build coping tools, journaling, walking, praying, calling someone before you hit that wall. Third reason, overconfidence or complacency. This is a tricky one.
Like thinking, I've got this.
Exactly. Recovery feels good, the painful memories of active addiction start to fade, and people think maybe I don't need meetings anymore, or just one drink won't hurt. That loss of vigilance, that false sense of control is a classic setup.
So stay humble.
Stay humble. Remember step 1, admitting powerlessness. Keep people around you who will tell you the truth even when it's hard to hear. Don't forget where you came from. Number 4 is unresolved trauma or mental health issues. We talked about this as a pillar, but it's also a major relapse trigger if it's not being addressed. If addiction was masking deep pain from trauma, depression, anxiety, grief, and that pain isn't being healed, the urge to self-medicate can come roaring back.
Makes sense. The original reason is still there.
Right. So that what helps is seeking appropriate support therapy, trauma-informed care alongside recovery, sharing what's going on inside with safe people. Secrets fuel addiction. Speaking them starts to take away their power. Healing takes courage, but it's essential. And the 5th reason Dale P. highlights is not working a program, spiritually and practically.
Meaning just stopping the things that got you well.
Pretty much. Recovery isn't just about not using, it's an active process of growth, building a new life. If someone stops doing the work, step work, prayer or reflection, being honest with others, self-inventory, those old ways of thinking and behaving can creep back in.
So it's a continuous practice.
It has to be a lifestyle. Keep the program alive. Stay connected to the steps, your sponsor, service work, whatever feeds your spiritual side. Use tools like guided workbooks if they help structure that daily practice. Recovery is lived day by day.
It's such a clear, compassionate framework. It really shows recovery isn't just one thing. It's clinical care, yes, but also that social fabric, mental health work, and that ongoing personal and, for many, spiritual commitment.
And framing relapse not as the end, but as that signal to check in to see what needs adjusting that feels much more hopeful and actionable.
It is. And that's really the core message, echoing Dale P&A Guiding Light. You're absolutely not alone in this, and recovery is possible. It requires continuous growth, self-awareness. Those are the keys to long-term well-being. It's a journey. Learn from every step. Absolutely. And if you or someone you know needs help finding treatment or support, there are great resources out there. SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, has a national helpline. The number is 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. You can also check out findtreatment.gov online to locate providers. And NDA's website, the National Institute on Drug Abuse, has tons of information on treatments and research. We really hope this deep dive has provided some clarity, maybe some new perspectives on the path to lasting recovery. Thank you for tuning into the channel at Guiding Light 911.
If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It really helps more people in recovery find content like this. And if something here spoke to you, share it with someone who might need to hear it today. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on recovery tools, reflection, and real talk from the heart. And as always, keep going. You're not alone. You are on the right path. See you in the next one.
A Guiding Light, 12-Step Recovery for Lasting Change.